So if you've looked into, modern terrorism in France, your mind probably jumps straight to the 1990s.
Yeah, the RER bombings, 95, 96. That's what most people remember.
Right. But the real watershed moment, the one that really shook France's sense of security, forced some big changes, that actually happened way earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Not on a train, but inside this, really chic spot in Paris.
You're talking about the drugstore Publicis.
Exactly. So today, our deep dive is into that bombing, September 15th, 1974.
Right.
Picture it. Sunday afternoon, about 5:10, Saint-Germain-des-Prés, very sophisticated area. And the drugstore Publicis, it wasn't just a store, was it?
No, not at all. It was a symbol, modern, buzzing, kind of like a cultural hub.
And that Sunday, it became a target.
And the effect was immediate, just devastating. Someone threw a hand grenade right into the crowd.
A grenade?
Yeah. Killed 2 people, wounded 34.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 children were among the injured. And the key thing here, the context. This was the first fatal, indiscriminate attack on civilians on French soil since the Algerian War ended.
So a real shock to the system.
A profound one. It felt like a new kind of vulnerability had just, arrived.
Okay, let's unpack that tactically. Why a shopping arcade? Seems almost random, but you're saying it wasn't.
No, far from it.
Right.
Our sources point to this being a very cold, very calculated move, a strategic play.
Like coercive diplomacy, but with a grenade.
Pretty much. It was directly linked to something happening just 2 days before over in the Netherlands.
Okay.
The Hague Gambit, as it's sometimes called.
Yeah.
Japanese Red Army, the JRA.
Right. The militant group.
Yeah. They were holding hostages at the French embassy there.
Yeah.
And their demand. They wanted France to release one of their members, Yoshiaki Yamada, from prison.
So wait, this Paris bombing was essentially pressure to make France give in to the JRA's demands in The Hague.
Exactly. An international conflict playing out brutally on Parisian streets.
And the person who carried it out?
That would be Ilich Ramirez Sanchez. You probably know him better as
Carlos.
Carlos, yeah. Later known as the Jackal.
Interesting figure, Venezuelan privileged background, but becomes this PFLP operative.
That's right. He really embodied that 70s archetype of the professional revolutionary. Mm-hmm. His job here was simple. Cause maximum shock in Paris.
Force the French government's hand on the hostage situation.
Precisely. And the grenade itself tells a story.
How so?
It was apparently stolen from a U.S. Army base in Germany.
Get out. So a Venezuelan PFLP agent uses a grenade stolen from U.S. stocks in Germany to bomb Paris in support of a Japanese group's demands in the Netherlands.
It really shows you how interconnected, how transnational terrorism had become by the 70s. Mm-hmm. The pressure was direct, brutal, and, it worked.
It worked. So France
folded. Almost immediately, faced with dead civilians, they released Yamada, gave the JRA safe passage out.
Wow. Okay. Short-term win for the terrorists, but the long-term cost for France must have been huge.
Oh, absolutely enormous. The biggest consequence, it completely shattered France's unofficial sanctuary doctrine.
Explain that. What was the sanctuary doctrine?
Well, for years, France had this sort of unspoken agreement. Certain foreign groups, like elements of the PFLP, were allowed a degree of safe haven in France.
On what condition?
Provided they promised not to carry out attacks in France or against French interests. The drugstore bombing proved that policy was fatally flawed. It didn't buy safety.
It just made France a convenient stage for other people's conflicts.
Exactly. The 74 attack basically forced France to get serious about counterterrorism. Proactively serious.
Is that when units like the GIGN came about?
Well, the GIGN, the Groupe d'Intervention de la Gendarmerie Nationale, was technically formed just before, in March 74. Mm-hmm. This bombing, it cemented their necessity overnight.
Right.
It pushed French policy definitively away from that older kind of passive neutrality towards active intervention. No turning back.
So 1974, it really was the sound of illusions shattering. Forced France to build the kind of security structures we see today.
Absolutely. It was a foundational moment.
A tough lesson learned.
Indeed. And, here's something final for you to think about. Carlos, the man behind the bombing, he was finally caught in 1994, decades later.
Right, in Sudan, wasn't it?
Yes. But the interesting thing isn't just that he was caught, it's why then. It wasn't some sudden forensic breakthrough or brilliant intelligence coup, not really.
So what was it?
It was history, arguably. The Cold War was over, the Berlin Wall had fallen, his state sponsors, countries like Syria, Sudan, they didn't need him anymore. He'd become a liability, not an asset.
Huh.
So the question to mull over is, was Carlos ultimately defeated less by counterterrorism agencies and more by the changing geopolitical landscape? By history itself.
Something to consider.